So I was gonna do some stuff after work, but it decided to just piss rain, so that stuff's off. So I thought maybe we'd do some content here on the HDJ159 or HDJ79, whichever you prefer. This will probably be somewhat of a long video, because why not? So for those who don't know, that's a 1HD FTE turbo diesel. It came in the HDJ79 and the HDJ100. This particular engine we built from scratch. We had no core, so basically got a short block from Japan and got a bare head from Australia, and every single nut and bolt is new. We built that here in my shop. In fact, I assembled it, and it's quite the engine. So let's talk about stuff under the hood a little bit. First, it's got the small hood scoop hood. We had to do some custom work to that, just simply because this truck is on an 80 series chassis, and you know, body height on chassis, engine height in the chassis, all that kind of stuff with a big top mount intercooler and a hood scoop was a little complicated, but we worked it out and we got it working well, functioning with the scoop, and EGTs are fully under control. You know, under just about all conditions. You have to try really hard to crack 1200 degrees Fahrenheit. Most of the time it's running around at 6 to 1000, I'd say, under kind of all driving conditions. That's a big cross country top mount. What else? Got factory OEM pre-filter and primary filter for the fuel system. This truck is running a G-Turbo red wheel, so it's going to be, well, we just upped the boost today, and we're running 25 pounds of boost, thereabouts. Haven't really taken it out and driven it since we upped the boost, but that's thereabouts where it'll be. So, you know, we also upgraded the fuel lines in terms of size from a stock application. So those are roughly ½ inch, 11 mil, 12 mil. I think we ran ½ inch domestic on most of it, besides the OEM rubber lines. So, yep, that just allows for more flow to the pump. And customer didn't want a fancy battery, so it's just interstate right there. I mean, there's all kinds of stuff going on under the engine bay here. You know, we've got vacuum system. That's the vacuum reservoir down there. We've got elevated diff breathers, as well as trans and T-case breathers. This is a custom air box we made in-house. So we built the air box. It utilizes a 200 series V8 paper filter. We just like that, you know, it works well. It's easy to get the filter in the US. It works well, and it's clean, looks good, so we like that. HDP catch can right here. You know, people argue about catch cans all the time. I'm a fan, and I personally like this one the best, simply because it doesn't have a filter. It's actually screens, meshed layered screens, which I feel is better than a filter. So we tend to use that catch can in my shop. What else? Boost controller back here, manual boost controller. We don't have it in yet, but it does have onboard air on this truck, and that compressor mounts right here. Customer didn't really want you know, ports at the front or the back of the truck, just a port right here under the hood that he can hook his hose into. So that's what he's going to get. We've had some AC dramas recently. That's partially due to the fact that you know, this is an HDJ, so, you know, a 1HDT or actually it's a 1HD FT or FTE AC compressor. This is a cap that we use in our builds that allows us to kind of adapt. We've discovered that there's a cap out there on the market that works for this. You know, and then under the hood, other than that, it's all HZJ on the AC, but once you get into the dash, it's all GR79. So having all the different systems in there, we kind of had some dramas, but we think we've got it worked out. We're getting it charged tomorrow morning, and we'll find out for sure. What else did we do? We also put some 20K oil in the fan clutch. The truck wasn't really running hot before, but we just want to make sure, customers down in the south, and it gets pretty hot down there, so we just want to make sure that the truck is ready for anything he throws at it. What else under the hood? I mean, there's other stuff to talk about, you know, G-Turbo, 3-inch stainless steel exhaust that we built here in my shop. All the wiring's pretty custom on this truck. We kind of pieced together the wiring from GR79, 1HZ79, and the engine bay harness is HDJ79 to suit the FTE. So the wiring was probably the biggest hurdle to overcome on this truck, and that was simply because at the time when we were acquiring parts, we had a certain parts supplier, and that parts supplier had sent us wiring harnesses, and we figured let's just go for it and work with what we got. So that's what we've done, and we've made it all work. Couple little bugs here at the end of the build to work out for wiring, such as the wiring in the truck is for two airbags, driver, the steering wheel, and then passenger here. Well, since we've gone away with the passenger airbag and gone to a double glove box, a bottom box is not in there. It's dark. Sorry, I should have a flashlight for that. It's given us a little bit of a drama with the airbag and the airbag light. We think we have a solution for that. We had one code out the gates, not too difficult to solve that. That code is solved, so there's just one or two things left in the cluster before we go ahead and wrap it up. I'll walk around over there and take a better look at the cluster and that side of the truck. But the reason the bezel is not on the cluster yet and hasn't been is simply because we've got a couple issues to work out there still. I should get a flashlight. But we got a cruiser consoles from Australia, overhead console. Customer really just wanted to keep this truck clean and not cluttered. He really doesn't like a cluttered, you know, on the dash and so forth. So it's pretty clean. I see a light, so I'm gonna grab one as I make my way around the truck. Customer didn't want manual or power mirrors, power windows, or power door locks. He wanted all manual, so that's what he got, and that's what the truck has. Did get a dark tent, as dark as is legal in his state, all the way around, you know, and that just helps a lot when it's really hot out to kind of keep it cooler in the cab. What else? Line-X in the bed, color match Line-X. We also did a color match Line-X underneath the whole bed. The chassis is FZJ80, so 80 series chassis. It was lengthened, if I recall right, 13 inches, 12 inches, right around there, and that's to match the wheelbase of the 79. And what else? You know, there's all kinds of stuff underneath that I won't get into right now, but we definitely got some Kings. Those are King 2.5 remote resi with an adjuster. There you can see our custom built 3-inch stainless steel exhaust. Let's grab the light and work our way around here a little bit. So tires are 255s, so they're nice and skinny. Those are 105 series wheels. And the light doesn't really help those. There we go. So those are 105 series wheels. We did a 5-lug conversion on the 80 series axles, so that's 105 series 5-lug. It's got bigger hub studs, bigger dowels, bigger lug studs on the wheels too. 105 series wheels that are powder coated black. The 255 Toyos double tanks, so the truck holds 50 gallons of fuel. We've put about 900 miles on this cruiser so far, and it seems to be averaging 20 plus miles per gallon, so solid 1,000-mile range. Rear bumper on 70 series is just a 10 can. So we went ahead and replicated it out of some DOM, so it's much thicker, much stronger. Won't just collapse, you know, as soon as you back into something. We wanted it to look like stock, so we used all the stock stuff on it, like the bumps and the steps and so forth, but it's much stronger than a factory bumper. We also integrated the license plate into it. We're running a factory pintle hitch. You know, that's really useful when you want to hook a tow strap up and you yank somebody out. We haven't done it yet, but we're putting a camera, backup camera right here in the that's the little keyway access for lowering the spare. Spare's not under the bed, spare's in the bed over there. Got the auxiliary fuel tank underneath it. So yeah, let's come up here, let's check it out. Boy, I like the tent. I think it looks great. This truck originally didn't come with a rear sliding window. Customer liked rear slider. I really like it. It helps a lot when you want a little air and you don't want a lot of wind blowing on you. Super cool in my opinion. Driver's seat's a Shieldman and oak. We had the passenger seat covered. This is a factory 79 series bench, you know, passenger seat that we had covered to match the Shieldman. It's got some Rosen sun visors right there. There's my light getting in the way, but there's some Rosen sun visors. Got a Switch Pro mounted here, as you can see, with that controls right there. The driver's seat is the heated Shieldman, so that's a 100 series Shieldman switch. We went through a couple gauge clusters till we got it dialed. This is an HZJ double tank cluster, and it's working good. We just got a little issue or two with the airbag light, and that's about it. And we're ready to finish it up there. The head unit is from Australia. It fits the 79 perfectly. H152 transmission, 5-speed transmission. That's the latest gen of the H series 5-speed. Truck's actually part-time 4-wheel drive, not full-time like an 80 series. We got an arbor EGT gauge down there. Right below that's the factory sub-tank switch. What else? Got some aftermarket, I can't remember who those are from. I don't think those are from One Stone armrest, but those are aftermarket door panels right there that integrate a speaker. So yeah, it's got the speaker in it. And let's see, behind the seat we have it's not really going to work out with my lighting, so I'll have to come back to that. But there's factory toolkit, jack, all that stuff behind the seat. And then on the other side we got a sub mounted behind the passenger seat, and that's an 8-inch sub. Boy, who doesn't love the sound of a nice Toyota door closing? I don't know what else. We could do some stuff underneath. This bumper is actually your Aussie Toyota dealer bumper. So when you go to Australia and you buy a 79 series and you want to get an ARB style bumper in Australia, this is what you get. We tend to call it the Aussie Outback Cop bumper, and that's simply because we've seen some cruisers in Australia, Outback Cop cruisers, you know, that are sporting that bumper. It seems like it's kind of designed to be able to push off of these if you are a cop, so that's another reason we call it that. This is a crumple zone here, so it does have crumple zone built into it. We got OEM fog lights and driving lights in there. There's a come up 12K winch. Got some Factor 55 goodies. Got the Baja designs. These are I think the LP9s, or I don't remember the exact model, but that's a 9 LED spotty, and boy is it bright. We'll just look underneath real quick. So 80 series axles front and rear, just 105 series goodies on the outers front and rear. King shocks. I mean, Nothing too fancy underneath. We did do some skid work here for under the radiator. Get that all good. And I mean, it's fully restored. This truck has come down to bare metal on the chassis pretty much. And I mean, the body was off. Didn't paint the body other than the hood and the fender flares, because, you know, the truck's fairly new and the body didn't need to be painted. It was pretty fresh. So I don't know, other stuff we could talk about, but seems like a good video for tonight for some content. This is the HDJ159. We call it that because it's a 79 combined with an 80 series chassis, or if you prefer, you can certainly call it an HDJ79, because that's pretty much what it is. Although I believe those trucks were only sold in Australia and they were narrow nose. I don't think they were a wide nose. I think that that HDJ79 offered in Australia ended in 2008 or 9, and that's when the wide nose kind of came into existence. Really sharp trucks, drives freaking awesome. We've been running about 18 pounds, 16 pounds of boost to break it in. We're gonna take it for a drive tomorrow after we get the AC charged in the morning and see, you know, how she does with 25. Customer didn't want a boost gauge, so we're just running our own boost gauge right now. That's why it's kind of janky with the tube coming in. It's a manual boost gauge. We just running it up there on the dash to monitor for ourselves during the finishing phases here. Customer doesn't care about that, so no boost gauge when it's all said and done. Yeah, so we'll revisit the truck again soon. But yeah, there's a pretty long video, some good content. Cheers.